Hey everyone, it's Ryder from Skip. It's Saturday, July 24th. I've got important updates for you today on targeted and supplemental EIDL grants, including how much money is left in both of these pots, what things could look like for you if they change the low-income community provision, and more on helpful templates for you, especially if you've been denied for an EIDL loan and you're up for reconsideration. Thanks so much for subscribing and liking this video. Tomorrow we are picking an $1,000 winner. We'll announce the winner in tomorrow's video, so make sure you tune in. To be eligible, hit subscribe, turn on the alerts, leave a comment in a recent video from this past week, could be this one. And of course, download our free app. It is Hello Skip in the App Store and Google Play. Okay, before I share some of the data that is good news, let me first talk about the EIDL loan reconsideration template. We put this up, I believe, on Thursday. Huge hit. Several thousand of you have already copied this template, and I assume perhaps that you've already sent this off to the SBA for reconsideration. I'll link to that video above. I hope it's helpful for all of you who have been denied for your EIDL loan increase. This is the poll we put up last week. Almost 5,000 votes. 36% of you say you'd been denied and perhaps are trying for reconsideration. And like I've said multiple times, the key there is to get a loan officer to look at your application. We know that there's a high degree of variability, and that's causing a lot of frustration for you. Just know that, number one, you're not alone. According to that poll, over a third of people have been denied for their EIDL loan increase. Second, reconsideration is a path that can work out. We're not saying it will be a fast process. We're hopeful that the SBA will announce changes to speed up not only approvals, but reconsideration as well. We were expecting an announcement from the SBA yesterday. We've been waiting for a month for them to announce changes related to EIDL loan processing times, perhaps changing the tax transcript requirement. We didn't hear anything. Maybe they'll announce something Sunday or Monday. I'll keep an eye on it for you and report as soon as we know anything. If you've used this template and found it helpful, let us know in the comments. Again, several thousand people have already used it. You can access this on our app. It is right at the top of our app. And if you would like help with other templates to email the SBA, or you're trying to figure out what to say, drop it in the comments as well. Our team can work on it. There are no hard and fast rules, but of course, many of you may want to know just some basic framework to give you some comfort that you're taking the right approach in contacting the SBA. So then someone can get in touch with you and say, okay, we need these 3 documents, can you provide them? Or whatever the case may be. But let me know in the comments what else you'd like to see in terms of templates, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, on the 10K targeted grants, here's the trend I pointed out yesterday. Let me make this a little bit larger. 89,000 approvals back in May. We are now at around 300,000 targeted EIDL grant approvals. That's good, and you know the growth rate has been pretty consistent except for this last week of June when it jumped up. But here's the problem. The remaining targeted EIDL grant funding as of today, there's 92% funding left. That's this green on the pie right here. Over $27 billion is still available for the $10,000 targeted EIDL grants. Only 8% has been allocated. It has been 7 months since this funding was approved, and we're only 8% of the way there. I've remarked on this before, but if we continue this pace, it will be years, literally years, until this funding gets dispersed, or will be taken away and given to another SBA program or another agency altogether. There were rumors about that with the infrastructure bill, perhaps taking unused funding and putting it somewhere else to pay for roads, let's say. You know, and the main blocker there is, of course, people who don't live in low-income communities. That was one of the 3 criteria in the law. You had to live in a low-income community, have your revenue declined by 30% or more, and have fewer than 10 employees to top up to the 10K. I've talked about this many times. Now imagine if they just change the parameters just a little bit. So many of you have remarked that you are a block away from a low-income community. You're just on the edge, and you yourself are low income. So imagine if they make that switch. I've said that this has to be an act of Congress. We know lawmakers are aware of this problem. We know the SBA is aware of this problem. We hope they'll do something about it. In fact, we've written a few letters pushing for this. As you know, we had a campaign where several thousand of you signed our petition to change this low-income provision because, frankly, $27 billion is just sitting there. The SBA is basically saying, hey, there aren't enough people who qualify that we can say yes to. So 2 tips I'll leave you with. Many of you may be aware of this, but you know, 3 days after this $30 billion was approved, we had a low-income lookup feature on our app. We had this out months ahead of the SBA. Over 100,000 of you used this to see if you were in a low-income area or not. It's still available if you want to check. And by the way, sneak peek at a new feature we have coming out next week. I tapped skip here It's a new funding tracker to track funding progress. That's all I'll say about that for now. But if you click EIDL Grant Tracker, you can put in your business address, and you can quickly see at the bottom here if your address qualifies or not. According to the self-reported data on our app, around 40% of people qualify for the targeted EIDL grants. The second tip on the app is you can search all EIDL grant and loan recipients. We've updated it with the latest data from about a week ago, so you can check by EIDL grants or loans to see who's received the targeted or the supplemental. You can also see that on the website helloskip.com/EIDL-data. We have the most used EIDL and PPP lookups in the country. Okay, let me talk about the supplemental grants very quickly. Only 22% of the supplemental grant funding has been allocated, so 77% is still left. That's over $3.8 billion left for supplemental funding. That's the extra 5K on top of the 10K targeted. And based on the current data, here is the percent who've received both targeted and supplemental grants. The assumption here is that everyone who's received a supplemental has also received a targeted. Now, there could be a case if you already got the 10K last year, there was no targeted top up to get, but you may have qualified for the extra 5K. So that's a case I can think of where in the reporting you could receive a supplemental but not the targeted. 75% of folks who've received the targeted have also received the supplemental. So it's positive news, of course. If you do qualify in the low income area, you have a good shot at not only getting the 10K, but also the additional 5K. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment in one of these videos, and download our free app. It's HelloSkip in the App Store. We're going to pick an $1,000 winner. Tomorrow, we'll announce it. It'll be up sometime in the afternoon. We are doing this all summer long, so if you don't win tomorrow, you have a shot throughout all of August. And I have an in-depth report on the changing of credit scores, specifically FICO scores. I'll talk about that tomorrow. Most importantly, stay well, stay healthy, and I'll see you tomorrow.